Good evening and welcome. My name is Nick, and I help direct events here at the Strand. Before we launch into tonight's event with Matty Matheson and John Gray, I'd like to share a little bit of history about the Strand. The Strand was founded in 1927 by Benjamin Bass on 4th Avenue's Book Row. Stretching from Union Square to Astor Place, Book Row gradually dwindled from 48 bookstores until, after 93 years, the Strand is the sole survivor, now run by third-generation owner Nancy Bass-Wyden. We want to thank all of you for your loyal support. Without our community of book lovers, we would not be here today, so thank you. Tonight, we are excited to have with us Matty Matheson for the launch of his latest cookbook, Home Style Cookery. Matty is the funniest and most illustrious person on YouTube, the host of Viceland's It's Supper Time and Dead Set on Life, the father of 2 bundles of joy, the greatest husband to the greatest wife in the world, and a chef phenom. He is the author of the New York Times best-selling book, Matty Matheson, a cookbook. Joining Matty in conversation tonight is John Gray, the co-founder of Bronx-born creative collective Ghetto Gastro, defining their own lane that transcends food, art, music, fashion, and design. John's curiosity has taken him around the globe, and he has had him seated across the table from world-renowned thinkers, artists, and chefs. But he's most passionate about home. The Bronx is part of the team's lifeblood, and every piece of the Ghetto Gastro universe is meant to uplift and celebrate the borough and other places like it as an unsung driver of global culture. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Matty Matheson and John Gray to the stage. Take it away.
We doing chest out, man?
Yeah. Well, I'm just hot. I got no air conditioning in my barn. You should take
Skins
your
out?
well, I don't know if the people can handle you, John. Skins out. Let's go. Skins versus skins. You keep it. Get it. Go. Bring it. Let me see. Yes. Look at the traps. This entire production has been brought to you by John Gray's Traps. I have 0 traps.
Traps in the trap. You did?
Oh my God. You're beautiful. Oh,
wow.
Everyone in the chat. How's the chat? Is the chat chill?
It's
good.
It's good. We're good, man. How does it feel, man? Book number 2.
Book number 2. It feels amazing. It is, it's a whirlwind. I think making a book obviously takes a long time. It's crazy, to think that this book, it takes longer than making a kid. I made this book a year and a half ago almost. I wrote it, and then I shot it, and I shot the beginning photos last September on the farm, and then in December I shot the rest of the photos in LA, and in the middle of that was the last time I think I physically saw you in LA. I think it was November last year or this.
Yeah.
It was November last year.
It was October and November.
Yeah.
You were shooting a show with Benny.
Yeah.
You came and checked me out. I was in South Central, and I was asking you a lot about books because Ghetto Gastro, we were in the middle of working out some things with a book and trying to get some insight, and you were super, super helpful. So tell me, what was the process like? How did it differ between book 1 and book number 2?
Well, that's a very good question, John. I think realistically, book 2 was kind of easier in a sense of you don't have doing something for the first time. It's almost like you're ignorant. You don't even know where the walls are. You don't know where the ceiling is. You're kind of just falling and kind of doing your own thing. And because I was writing the story of my life through a culinary kind of lens, I think it was kind of easy. It was I didn't have to make anything up. I literally was I didn't have to conjure anything. I didn't have to what about this? What about that? I was just telling my timeline. I was, talking about how I feel about my grandparents, talking about how I feel about my in-laws, how I feel about my parents, how I feel about my wife, how I feel about, going to fucking culinary school. you know, like getting into French restaurant. Like it was my entire life. It was my culinary kind of journey up until now, which came very naturally, right? Like it was one of those things where it was just like, I'm just hanging out, kind of talking about myself, you know? And it was just like,
you're an expert. You're an expert on yourself, so you can't go wrong there.
I'm the most humble narcissist in the world, you know?
No question.
And now with this book, it's like I had to write a book. Like the first one was kind of like almost like a mulligan. Like it just had happened. It was fun. It was, it was very fun actually. And the second book was fun, but it was definitely more of like a job. It was like, oh fuck, now I have to make books. You know, now I gotta do this. You know, because it was like one of those things where it was just like making the first book. I was so excited. I did like I really kind of pushed it. I did like a lot of traveling for the book, and I got to see a lot of parts of the world that I've never even been before. And now with the second book, it's like I'm making a book for what I think that my fan base needs or wants, or now I'm kind of playing to the crowd. And before I was just playing for myself. And I think like that's the biggest kind of thing. Yeah.
So tell me, what challenges did you hit when you were thinking about curating the recipes for this book? What to leave in, what to take out?
It was crazy. So like, because this book is like over 135 recipes, and it's like almost 400 pages. And so it's I knew that I wanted to make a big cookbook. I know that I wanted to make a cookbook that like I just wanted to have like a start and end. Like I wanted it to start with like stocks, making breads, like things that you can use throughout the book. In the sandwich section, I made sandwiches that you could use the breads from chapter 1. I wanted you to be able to like put building blocks together for your own self, for your own kind of repertoire. And I think, I made so many, I wrote out like 250 recipes, ideas, not full recipes, but ideas. And then you like with anything, you go really far. Like, how big can I make this? And then you just kind of whittle back and get rid of all the filler. That one's stupid. I don't need that because that one's too similar to this. And all of a sudden you come down, and I feel like it just like, it's just one of those things where I was just like, this feels right. You know, you kind of take your time with it, you sit on it, and because you don't want to over edit because you want it to be as real as possible as well. And the way that I write my books is the way I talk. So it's like my editors and the copy editors are always like, should we take this out? Like, and I'm like, no, this is my voice. Like, I want you to keep all the fucks and even some of the bad grammar. I want it to feel like that's the way I talk, and that's the way that. Well, that's why people fuck with me in the first place, and why people want to be like that are down, because it's just like the way I talk isn't like some chef bullshit. It really is just like I want to explain how to cook food. Like if some buddy calls me up, it's like, yo, I got a pork shoulder. What the fuck do I do with it? And then I can break it down and be like, yo, you got to do this, you got to do that. You can do salt and pepper, you can do brown sugar, you can do whatever you want to do. And just like, I always want to write the way that I talk, because I think like that is just kind of like the easiest way to do anything, you know? And it's like easy because I write half the book on my fucking iPhone. So it's just like realistically, like I don't even own a laptop, you know? So it's like, yeah, like I literally don't even own a fucking laptop. So I can borrow this from one of my team members. Like I'm doing this on their laptop because I don't even have one. But it's like, I just want to keep it literally real, you know?
No, I respect that. So during the quarantine, we did a show together, Gastronomical Cribs. So I know what you've been cooking during quarantine. You know, you hooked up the sausage pasta, but I know the audience is probably curious. What type of food have you been whipping up for yourself and your family during quarantine?
Well, it's like, it's so crazy at the beginning, like when it was like when it was really intense at the beginning, when everything kind of sunk in and like it was just like, okay, like we're going once a week to like I was the only one that left my property for like 3 months because my wife was pregnant and we got 2 young kids and we want to keep everybody safe. So I was the only person leaving the farm to go get groceries and stuff. And I really wanted to make food that week. I would usually at the beginning of the week, I would cook like a big piece of meat, like a big pot roast, a chicken, a large piece of roasted pork, even like a large fish, or make like a stew, a curry, something big at the beginning of the week. And then throughout the week, I could take that piece and kind of have like, I'd always have like a meat and potatoes kind of thing. Then I would take that and make it into a dish. I could take that piece of beef and make tacos, or I could make a shepherd's pie, or I could make that into a stew the next day, or beef stroganoff. Like I wanted things that I could like make and then I could like kind of utilize throughout the week and just keep cooking. Like it was like one of those things that like all we were doing was cooking 3 meals a day and doing dishes and like. It was like it really became the pandemic. The biggest thing is like I was cooking whatever. Like I was cooking the same way I always cook. I feel we were definitely trying to be like very aware of waste and not wasting food. Mm-hmm. And we started literally even in portions wise. We weren't eating a lot. We were trying to eat smaller amount of portions. And feeding our children smaller amount of portions and just being more aware of how much we consume, kind of, actually.
Amazing. That brings me to, it's always been a pleasure to watch you do your farm, getting your farmer Matty on, man. So how has your relationship with tending to the land changed your view or how you treat food when you cook it? Like how has it affected your practice?
Well, I think
let's tell the people what you got on the farm too, like what you got growing, what's going down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the farm was a thing, like we didn't know if we were going to do the farm. And then we had a plan to do it, that the pandemic hit. And then I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like there's so much going on. I'm trying to I need to rebuild some businesses. I got to fucking figure out some shit. I got to work on the book. I got to do this. Like there's so many things happening. And then one day, we made a decision to kind of jump. And that was the thing where if we don't do it, I don't think I'm ever going to do it. If we don't do it now, I don't think I'm going to ever do it. It'll just be one of those things that I was just like, oh yeah, remember I was talking about, it turned into one of those things that people just like, remember that thing. And people, and a lot of people have a lot of those things that they talk about and they don't fucking do. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm always afraid of, not doing something. And so then we were like, fuck it, let's go. And we literally broke ground on May 25th. And we called it Blue Goose Farms after my grandfather, my dad's restaurant in Prince Edward Island. That's in my first book. Blue Goose, and I got it tattooed. That's a Blue Goose there.
Goose. Okay.
Blue Goose, baby, with the dahlias, little dahlia, my grandfather's favorite flower.
I live in the North Bronx, and we have a lot of geese here.
Yeah.
A lot of geese shit.
A lot of geese shit. Fucking fly together. A lot of geese shit flies together. And so like we didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen. We have a bunch of dirt. We built beds. We built the beds. We put down compost. We put seeds. We were sowing seeds. And I got this one like kind of sunroom in my house that gets really hot. It's like a fucking microwave. And so we started doing some seeds, sowing seeds in there. And I didn't know what was to do. I didn't know anything was going to grow, if anything was going to taste fucking good, if my soil was actually full of nutrients and microbes. And it ended up being so successful. First of all, spiritually, every day I start and end my day kind of in the garden. And it's such every morning, the kids wake up, they come in the bedroom. And then we always want to go see what's in the garden. And like, it's so like all the cliches, like everything is like, it's so like heartwarming. And you're just like every morning, like Rizzo's like, she's not even 2. And my partner in Blue Goose, I have a partner, Keenan. And every morning she wakes up, she's like, Keenan. And she can say garden. She's like, garden. And Mac's like, let's go see what's in. And Mac's like, you know, he's almost 5 and he's just like a little brute. So he's just like, let's go. And it's just so nice to like, we go out there every morning, have a cup of coffee, talk about what's happening, do a walk around, check out, you know, how much stupid butterflies ate some fucking kohlrabi leaves or some shit. And we just go around and we see what's up and see what we're harvesting that week. And so it turned out from something that like, we didn't know what was going to happen. Like we're selling to three restaurants in Toronto. So we're supplying, not a lot, and we're supplying to 3 specific restaurants that have menus that they just do daily menus based on vegetables and all that kind of stuff. And it's you know, people we trust that aren't going to just fucking smash around our product too. You don't want some jabronis fucking up your beets that you grew yourself.
TLC into,
And that's the thing. It changes your perspective. Like it's like as a chef, I've been going to farms my entire career. It's like going to cooking school. They like you. It's built into you as a chef that like partially your skill is great. Having good skills, great. But even if you have the best tomato, you're gonna get and do little to it, and have the restraint to not fuck it up and take away your ego as a chef and to just kind of amplify and lift up that beautiful tomato with just enough skill. That's the talent, right? And so we got a couple buddies that we believe in and they believe in us. And the vegetables have been like so bountiful. Like the tomatoes have been incredible. Cabbages growing like and the thing is we don't want to just grow like herbs and like dainty small. I want to grow really robust, large, kind of like rutabagas, daikon, squashes, cabbages, tomatoes, carrots. I want leeks, garlic, things that are like really robust, really hardy, things that can make a large amount of food. And you know, like we're literally 100% organic. We're not certified or any of that kind of bullshit, but you know, we are 100%.
I got to link you with the regenerative farming team at Patagonia.
Yeah, dude.
Colin from Sky High.
Well, Dan, it's so crazy. Like Sky High, it's so funny. Like I've been friends with a bunch of. It's so funny, like different circles. You know, you never really realize who's running with who. And Dan is been childhood friends with some of my friends, and I got them. I was like, "Yo, the Sky High Farm is literally the coolest. It's the coolest fucking thing." And what Dan is doing is giving 100% of produce, 100% of livestock to communities in need, and just do like that's the thing. And when we were starting talking about Blue Goose Farms, the main thing was like we just want to do what's right. And I'm like, the first thing was like I own land. You know, I'm lucky enough and worked hard enough that I could afford to buy some land. And now what do I do with it? Just have a bunch of fucking grass, you know? And it's just like I want to grow some vegetables and make the most of it. And so now the next kind of step is like we're taking Blue Goose and we added 10,000 square feet vegetable garden that we're going to do next year. We're adding 2 50-foot by 16 tunnels to grow into the winter months. And next year, hopefully we'll be able to like literally quadruple, if not more, of our produce. And at that level, we'll be able to give straight up. Like this year, we were giving every week on our delivery, we give a certain amount to community fridges in Toronto. And, you know, once again, one of those things that just like, I like, you know, why not? Like, if we're given vegetables, we obviously can fill up a fridge every week. So we've been doing that, and nobody needs two until everybody's got one. So it's just like I think being able to donate more or try to figure out how to get some grants or government assistance on donating food to some food banks in Toronto or locally would be really the bigger picture of what Blue Goose would be, because I don't want it to be about profitability. I want it to be about feeding people, and I want it to be just sustainable. I just want it to pay for itself.
Break even.
If I can break even and the cost of the running is covered, then we're dude. If you can pay your bills, you're rich, and that's a fact. It's a fact. If you can pay your bills, you are rich beyond your wildest dreams, I believe. And with that, I want to really try to focus on making Blue Goose one of the just a real ass fucking farm that gives good food.
Now, being that, like, just pivoting a little bit, like, I know Blue Goose is delivering to restaurants and you're providing your purveyor to some restaurants. How has it been to watch the state of affairs and how the pandemic has affected restaurants? And I'm sure it's affected your business, and you've had to make some changes and pivots. Like, what are some of those things? And how do you think it's going to change the industry as a whole?
Well, I think it decimated it. And I think it's one of those things that it's slowly putting itself back together with new rules. Instantly, I think it's even going to get shut down again in Canada, because like Canada is a very different beast than America, obviously, just on population. Like, a lot of Americans don't even understand, and this is in the state, this is being broadcasted in the state. So it's just like, I understand people understand that Canada is smaller, but it's like our landmass is greater than the United States of America, and it's the same population as just fucking California. So imagine, like, just that. Imagine all the people in California across your entire country. And but that's the thing, like, we kind of got some room to breathe. And I think that's why the demeanor is a little bit different, obviously. But the pandemic in restaurants, the trickle effect is going to be for years to come, down to farmers, producers, fisher folk, ranchers. The system is completely fucked, just in general, of how restaurants kind of work, it seems, with tipping, not tipping, with people actually paying money for good food. A lot of people don't want to pay $20 for a salad, but guess what? They should be. And cheap food isn't good food. And then, but there's class divide on all that kind of shit. Like, it's cheaper to eat at McDonald's than to go to, than to buy vegetables for a week.
Yeah, which is crazy, yeah.
And that's the thing that we need to try to tip the scale. And that's the thing with regenerative farming, with the soil, first of all, getting better and working the land. And then at the same time, trying to get that price point to where it is accessible. And we can get organic vegetables to fucking everybody.
Well, a lot of that is definitely the government too, because I know in the States, when you think about the subsidies that certain crops are getting, whether it's corn and potatoes and soy, a lot of the feed crops are subsidized, and that's why, like, you could get a bag of potato chips for dirt cheap, and it's high fructose corn syrup and everything, like, as a cheaper
feed them.
So it's like figuring out how to, like you say, tip the scales, and it's a systematic thing. It's not systemic. It's not just up to the entrepreneur. It also has to be some policy in place that makes it feasible for entrepreneurs like yourself and myself to be able to provide these things for more people,
Absolutely. And even with like Blue Goose, we're trying to figure out how to sell our vegetables for the cheapest we can, and try to figure out how, if we can grow these on a larger scale, like how once again, it's just like figuring out subsidies for people doing the right thing, right? Not these large companies trying to get potato chips on the shelves. Like how are we trying to get carrots that don't taste like pennies? Like that's the thing. Like we gotta get people. We gotta get people that are eating vegetables, and eating proper raised meat, and But that, once again, this is a massive global thing that is way beyond kind of our scope of things. But I think we can add a couple drips and drops to the bucket and keep moving forward. That's for sure.
So I've been seeing this molasses bread. I know. Tell me a little bit about that molasses bread and some of the other uses that you have for it.
Well, the molasses bread. Let me tell you about the molasses bread. So the molasses bread is something in the Maritimes. We grew up. A lot of people, like in Boston, I think they just call it like brown bread, and I think it's just like an East Coast kind of thing. And it's like you pour like hot water on oats, and then you pour the molasses in there, and you make your dough with that molasses and oats. And it's just one of those things. We grew up legitimately making it in apple juice cans. And so we legitimately, we would save our apple juice. We'd have like those Allen's apple juice cans or whatever.
Yeah.
And my mom would always save them we'd either save them for bacon fat. So there'd be one under the sink for like bacon fat or grease. And then we'd save a bunch for making molasses bread. And the thing that it was like such a cool thing, because as a kid, I grew up in a house where my mom made fresh bread, and we used to mill flour every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that wasn't because it was cool. It was because my parents would buy like a year's supply of grain, and like legitimately, my mom, out of necessity, and just like kind of like we knew how to fucking live, and we used to mill our own flour every day, and my mom would be making fresh breads every day, and the molasses bread was a hot rotation, and the best thing about it was like you would make like burger melts, and you could slice it, and it's a perfect bun shape because it's a circle. It was made in the tin, right? And so we would slice it and like make grilled cheeses. So you make like perfect grilled cheese with it, and it gets so crispy. It's like it's very similar to like imagine like a sweet. It's not even like sourdough. It's more like a Pullman loaf or something. Like just like a white loaf of bread, but like molasses and has oats in it, and it fries up. It fries up so good. Like even like. We used to do every once in a while, we do like toad in the hole. So you cut out a circle out of the circle, put a cracked egg inside of it, fry that up in bacon fat. And it's so versatile. It's like one of those things. It's just like, I don't know if a lot of people like, I don't know. Have you ever baked bread? Have you ever made molasses bread or heard of molasses bread?
I've never baked. I'm the dishwasher out the clique, but
yeah,
some of the homies, they definitely bake bread, but I've never baked bread, bro.
Yeah. Well, baking bread. I think it was a hot topic. I think it was like a fucking pretty hot topic during the pandemic. Everyone was baking bread. I feel like everybody is tartine level right now. Yeah, dude, straight up. Chad's stressed. Chad is stressed.
The books are probably selling better than ever, though.
Yeah, dude, straight up.
What was I gonna say? Do you listen to anything while you cook, like music, podcasts? Do you watch TV? Is Rizzo running around bossing you?
Rizzo, dude, Rizzo just yells. She's so funny. She's like Italian. Her mom is Italian, and she does literally. She goes food. And when Rizzo starts, just like it's just like one of those like manja. Yeah. But she's just saying like food, and she's like an old Italian lady. It's so funny.
It's amazing.
And but we always rocking music. We got the Sonos going, and it's either that or we're watching like Wiggles or something with the kids. Rizzo loves the Wiggles, but she's just listening to music. Sometimes I'll put like Max obsessed with Ghostbusters right now, so we just listen to the Ghostbusters soundtrack. We listen to music all the time. I don't really watch anything. I don't listen to podcasts. I'll tell you that much. Even though I make a podcast, I definitely don't listen to them.
We got enough shit going on in our head. We don't got to hear other people yapping too much.
Dude, no.
We got ideas to execute. I was going to say, being that your first cookbook was a bestseller, like you hit the New York Times bestseller list and all of that, did you feel any type of pressure like going into cookbook number 2?
Yeah, and that's part of like the first book, kind of the ignorance of having a first book where I didn't even know I could be a New York Times bestseller, or I was just like, because like like in Canada, there's no like massive accolades like that, right? Like we don't have a New York Times, we don't have James Beard, we don't have Michelin, we don't have all these accolades and these lists. We have lists, but it's kind of like whatever to me. Like I don't give a fuck about any fucking list. I don't give a fuck about Michelin. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. But but the New York Times thing, I didn't really understand what it was. Didn't know that it was a thing for me. And then my editor called me. I was in LA. I was doing a book event in LA. And he was like, dude, you made the list. And I was like, what list? Like, I was like, what list? And he was like, you're a New York Times bestseller. And I was just like, okay. I was like, okay, yeah, that's good. I like, okay. I'm like, is that good for us? And he's like, that's very good for us. He's like, that's very good for everything. He's like, you'll be a New York Times bestselling author forever. He's like, it's like a PhD. Once you get that stamp, that's it. You know, they put it like, it's so funny because it's on the cover. It's crazy because it's like on the cover of my new book, but it's just like, I'm like, but that book's not a New York Times bestseller yet. And they're like, but you're a New York Times bestselling author. And I'm like, so you can just put that shit anywhere? I was just like, just put it anywhere. It's so fucking funny. It's fucking funny.
It's like when you get nominated or win an Academy Award, man, for the rest of the year.
And they say it like anytime you're on a talk show or you're on a thing. But with the second book, I honestly, like, there is pressure because I got it on the first one. So now I'm like, if I don't get it on this one, I'm a fucking loser. But who knows? Like, it's like one of those things where I'm like, obviously it'd be nice. I don't know, right? Like, it's one of those things where you're like, I think it's like, it's not just based on like Amazon sales. It's like independent bookstores. It is across America. You need to be selling books across America, not just in New York and LA. You need to show that you got juice across America, kind of thing. So we'll see. Again, you know, I hope so. It's nice. Everyone out there, buy a book. You know,
buy 65.
Buy 65 books and buy them all from independent bookstores.
And make sure your family members on the Bible Belt in the Midwest. Everybody, we can't.
Everybody
hit them with the coast.
Montana.
Buy a book and register to vote. You know, and make sure you get those polls.
Vote. So, everybody vote.
Now, do you feel like there's anything that you left on the table that you want to get into the next book and the number 3?
I don't know. Number 3, it's kind of like, I'm good for right now. I got so much shit going on but I don't know, man. Like, this book, I'm kind of like, right now I'm not even thinking about another book. That's for sure. Making a book is a long process, man. And you know, like how's your book going? Like, it's just like, you know, like,
Doug, we haven't even announced it yet, so I guess it's a little sneak preview.
Okay, well, there's no book. There's no book.
A book will be coming soon. Not really soon, but it'll be announced soon. But it's a process, like figuring out the outline, thinking about what recipes go where, like which ones make sense for the home cook, right? Because you got to take off your chef hat, and if you really want people to be cooking your food at home, and it's not just like this ego thing where it's like, yeah, this foam and this thing. It's like you gotta like make it approachable. So thinking about how these things weave into the story and the narrative of the book and make sense. So it's a lot of work.
Dude, you have to. It's like writing a screenplay, but at the same time, it's like it's fully everything. It's like making a movie. It's making, like, legitimately, it's the same as like making a movie. You got to tie everything in. It's got to make sense. Every single thing has to be thought about. It's very similar to I think, you know, to making a movie. I'm not sure.
The moral of the story is hard work. It's hard work.
Keep it going.
Well, anything else you got on your mind that you want to share, man? I know the people in the audience probably have some questions.
I just want to make sure everyone in the audience right now, and make sure you go out and you buy Ghetto Gastro's new waffle machine. That's what I want. That's what I want to say. Go support my man John G, baby.
You gotta show them how to use it. You gotta.
I'll make a video. I'll make a video on the waffle.
It doesn't have to be a waffle. You can also throw a grilled cheese in that joint.
Dude, have you seen the tater tots?
Nah, put me on.
Dude, they fill it full of tater tots and then they clamp it and it turns into like the crispiest potato chip thing ever. And I want to do something like that and then like put like Old El Paso like ground beef and cheese and sour cream and shit on it.
Ooh, that sounds fire.
I bet it's really good. I saw somebody do that and I was like, I want to do a.
I'm gonna credit you if that makes it into the GG cookbook.
Yo, I'll write it for you.
I gotta pay respects. So I know the people got some questions for sure. And thank you for that plug. Crux GG in stores, Williams Sonoma. You know.
Let's go.
Get 65 copies of the book. Get a couple waffle irons, you know, throw the book in the waffle iron, you know, keep it spicy.
Dude, let's go.
Be careful when you do that. But since you got 65 copies, I guess you can experiment with one of them. Like I put in the chat just a moment ago, if you'd like to buy a copy of Homestyle Cookery, there's a green button at the bottom of the screen. Click that, you can buy one right now.
Wow.
But I have come back because I heard the magic words, audience Q&A. So yeah. I've definitely got some questions for you guys.
Okay.
So hope you're ready. What dish or ingredient has impacted not only your cooking, but your life up until this point? This is from Kyle.
Kyle, what ingredient has impacted my life?
What dish or ingredient?
Ingredient. What dish or ingredient impacted my life? That's so intense. That's such an intense question. I don't know. Maybe olive oil? Like really finding out what good olive oil actually tastes like. Shout out to the Franks. The Franks make the best Sicilian olive oil. Falconelli and Castronovo. I remember the first time I ever had, like, it's like seeing for the first time or smelling for the first time, like having like a really good ingredient. And I think having something that I've been using olive oil my whole life. And then when you taste something like the Frankie's olive oil and you're like, oh, this is literally what olive oil should taste like. So, once again, shout out to the Franks. If you're in Brooklyn, check out F&F Pizza, the Frankies. Love you guys.
I might go there tonight.
Dude, go there.
I'm not even supposed to be messing with dairy, but fuck it.
Fuck it. Get some cheese.
Live it on the edge, man, about that cheddar.
Oh, man. This one actually was just posted in the chat, and I'm also curious about this. I think it's a quick answer. What is the poster behind you, John?
Oh, this is a painting by a gentleman named Conrad Edgar.
How do you spell that last name? E-D-G?
Yeah,
Edgar?
It's Conrad E-G-Y-I-R.
E-G-Y-I-R. All right, cool. So there you have it, folks. Check out that
paintings.
And it says they came, they plunged, and we dined on their crumbs. So it's food related.
There you
he
go.
has like a cacao in his hand. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's really cool.
John Gray has the best art in town too. I'm very envious of John Gray's got a good collection.
You heard it here, folks.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right. Got another one. Hey, Matty, first-time caller, long-time listener. What's your favorite recipe in this new book? Any little tricks or additions to it? And that one is from a person whose name isn't specified. It's a random user.
Anonymous. I like that. Keep it safe. My favorite recipe in my book. I don't even have my fucking book. Honestly, I think my wife's Hello Dollies. She makes these like squares at the end in the dessert section. She makes Hello Dollies, and it's like a graham cracker, coconut, condensed milk, chocolate chips. It's crazy. It's this crazy coconut chocolate graham crust square thing called Hello Dollies. And that is literally probably my favorite dessert of all time. And I don't know tricks or anything about that thing, but just, you want to eat that with a big glass of milk, just a big glass of milk, wash it down, make you shit your pants probably. I don't know.
I want some of that when I come to Canada, when they open the borders up. I need that. And as soon as you say coconut, but then you say the reduced coconut, oh man.
Dude, it's so good. It's so fire.
Boy, oh boy. All right. We got a scenario one for you.
The
scene is
getting
set.
Spicy in the question.
Sunday dinner at your house with your family and in-laws. What are you cooking?
Sorry, ask that again. Sorry, man.
Yeah, you got it. I'll run it back. Sunday dinner at your house with the family and in-laws. What are you cooking?
To be honest, it'd probably be like a lasagna or a baked pasta, like rigatoni and meatballs, something like a baked pasta, like family style with some salad, some garlic bread, some baked pasta, and then probably like ice cream sandwiches. Make it easy, to be honest. That's what we would bake.
Lasagna's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, well, it's easy. Like you want to make a big casserole. You want to make something that is easy to shovel out, You don't want to stress out too much.
And the leftovers the next day are always better.
There you go.
And like cold baked pasta. Oh my God.
So
Big
good.
ziti. What else? You guys got some questions? Let's go.
All right. This one's specifically for John. John, what is Ghetto Gastro working on right now?
Oh my God.
Well, like we like Matty said, we're not working on a book. So now we have that. Just more content, more products, like a lot of surprises coming because, just like with restaurants, like our primary earning vehicle was events, like doing parties around the world with different brands and different artists and collaborating. And that's been nil. It's like not happening anymore. So it's like we've had to pivot and think about what does GG 2.0 look and feel like. And we put a lot of energy towards feeding the community, like working with Rethink and La Mirada, and getting thousands of meals out to people because we're in a food insecure space. Like the Bronx is the largest food distribution center of its kind in the world, but yet it's so many food insecure neighborhoods within this borough. So that's been the focus, but then also just hitting you with more drip. Like we got the appliances, the full collection dropped. The waffle maker sold out really quick, but the rest of the collection drops tomorrow in Williams-Sonoma. So just more heat rocks. It's so
sick.
Never go INS. It never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah. Good answer. All right, we got another one here. Yo, what do you think is the most exciting development or new method in cookery in the last year? Also
the new tech. I don't know if there's any new techniques.
I'm like, is there anything new?
I don't know if there's anything. I think everyone's going back to basics. I think everyone's trying to just get more aware of where the food's coming from and where the food's going. And I think people are just trying to cook for one another. I think that's the biggest. I think the biggest thing about this is how lucky and how luxurious we had it before the pandemic, and now we need to really figure out and understand what's really good and what really matters, and keep it small and keep it tight and keep it fucking well made.
Amen. All right. Next question. Fort Erie was a stopover for my family on our way to Toronto. Having grown up there, how much did that factor into your book? Also, thoughts on Ming Tay restaurant?
Ming Tay is great. I think it's got, it definitely has, I think the best, it's right on the water, right on the Niagara River, overlooking Buffalo, because we're a border town to Buffalo, New York. So Ming Tay is, it's literally my favorite location. If I could, this is going to sound arrogant, but if I could have any building in Fort Erie, in my hometown, to make a restaurant, that would be it. It's the sickest spot, right on the river. Ming Tay is fire. I also like Happy Jack's, which is right next to it. Fort Erie only had like good Chinese takeout, bingo halls, and strip clubs. That's what we were known for back in the day.
That's the claim to fame.
That was because we're a border town. So it was just like everyone would come over from the States because we were full nudity. So everyone, like, even in Motley Crue, The Dirt, there's even a part where Motley Crue played Buffalo, and the after party was at Pure Platinum, which is a strip club that I grew up like going to in Fort Erie. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I think where anybody comes from defines kind of who they are, if they want to hide it or they want to show it, you know? And I come from a very small kind of border town, farm town, very working class factory kind of town. And I'm really proud of where I come from. And, I think it's definitely made me always kind of keep my head level, that's for sure.
Cool. All right. This is an interesting one. Did you experience any culinary roadblock or writer's block while writing the book? If so, how did you get through it?
Yeah, I find it's tough because I don't like forcing writing, but also you need to treat it like work. So you need to show up every day, I think. And a lot of people kind of get it twisted where like it isn't this big inspirational thing. You need to just put in work. You need to go to work. You need to make it happen and stick to like what you like. Like the outline is a very important thing for books. And I think like staying true to that and having a really strong outline and then filling in the blanks of writing out chapters, recipes, head notes, essays. And it's crazy because usually I write all the recipes first, then I'll write the head notes. And then once all of that is kind of done, I'll go back and write chapter essays. And I kind of write it from the recipe. I want the recipes first. That's the most important. Sometimes it'll be like for my first book, I kind of wrote the stories, and then those were the dishes that kind of represented those stories and those timelines. But on this one, I kind of went backwards where I was like, what are the recipes? And then I kind of went backwards onto that and went recipe, head notes, then chapter essays finally.
Sounds good. All right. Cool. I like what you said about like you gotta treat it like a job, you gotta put in the work.
You do. Like I think if you wait around and wait for this inspiration to come, what if it never fucking comes and you're the problem? And I think you'll get inspired by yourself by working hard.
There you go.
Like putting pen to paper.
Yeah.
Just write. It may not be good, but guess what? It will get good if you keep writing.
The more you make, the more you'll want to make, the better it'll
Absolutely. Get. Well, it's like anything. Like you're afraid to start. Like it's always so daunting to start. You know? Then you start, and then from there, like even like when I wrote the first thing I wrote on this book was the beginning, like the opening essay or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And the whole time I'm like talking about my first book and how scared I am. I'm still scared about writing, and I'm still scared because I'm like, I was horrible in high school. I'm not an academic. I don't know how to where to put fucking commas. I don't know how to put like, I'm not articulate, like I'm not an academic. And so making a book to my brain is one of those things that like, I shouldn't be doing it. Like there's nothing adds up in my brain or my makeup that allows me to think I should have a book, So, once again, I do deserve to have a book, and you just got to fucking work and do it, I don't know. Something like that.
Wise words. We got a bit of a lighter question here. Just got fennel pollen on an impulse buy. What should I make with it? That's from Tony.
Usually just like toast, like get some good whole wheat toast, peanut butter, honey, and then hit it with some honey pollen. That works.
You
Or
go.
you can put it on. It's really nice on. Put it on some ice cream with some honey and some bee pollen. Or you can just use it on a salad. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can use bee pollen.
Do they get bee pollen or fennel pollen?
You got
Fennel pollen?
fennel pollen. Yes.
Oh.
Same
What do you mean,
shit,
like the
right?
flower? No, that's like what, the flower, the white flower? I was thinking bee pollen.
I don't know. It says here verbatim, just got fennel pollen on an impulse
Okay.
buy. What should I make with it?
I think that's probably best for like pickling or something, using it as a pickling herb. Or dusting, it'd be nice on like if you made like a fresh pizza in your oven at home with some pepperoni, hit it with some dust. Like at Maker Pizza, I roast fennel seed and grind it, and I shake it onto our pepperoni pizzas.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Damn, I'm gonna break my fast and end up getting pizza tonight.
Go get some. Go to
There's
FF.
too much pizza talk. God damn.
It's got the cheese and you're breaking the fast. Oh boy. All right. This is the audience's words, not mine. Matty, how'd you go from the lax jabroni to the electric chef that you are? What are your biggest influences?
I don't know. My biggest influences, fear. I think the fear of not doing something is my biggest inspiration, maybe one of them, and having children and a wife to provide for and to kind of work with and make a life that I don't want to give them everything on a silver platter, but I want to be in a position that I can assist them, and help them make the right decisions and not have I don't know. I just want to make sure that everyone's cool. I don't want to give everything. Like I want my kids to go, when they're 18, they're out of the house, they can go work out. Like I always tell, I'm like, man, you come back at 35 and you got a good career, maybe we give you a little nice present, but you got to go figure it out for yourself. But I want to be able to have the tools to kind of help them out as much as I can in the same way. But I think fear is a big inspiration of like not doing, like literally like FOMO, but for real. Like the fear of not doing it scares me more than doing it, not doing it. Like I want to really like I'm one of those people that really, I do like 10 projects. 6 of those projects are going to be good, or maybe 3. But if I only focus on one and that fails, then what? Then I got to restart everything. And it's just like, I want to keep going. And I'm going to keep throwing shit at the wall all day.
I received that, and that's real spit, man. Especially like when you coming up from the mud, it's like, and when you have these opportunities, like we have these platforms, you got to get it, like, dude. You be remiss to fuck up these chances, right?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people like it's I think it's what you do with it, right? Like it's like being popular on social media is fucking one little small thing. It's what you do with it. And it's about like building real businesses. It's about building real loyalty with fans, about giving people quality products. Because if you're just some fucking jabroni, then no one's gonna fuck with you. Like you got a small shelf life. Mm-hmm. I want some like long game shit, and I really want to just like do what I think is best for me, which will in turn be best for my fan or what kind of products I'm fucking with.
You're the supporters because you got to make the shit that you fuck with, and then it's gonna be other people that fuck with that too. Like,
absolutely.
But you can't like make shit for this imaginary person that is not you, because then it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you really doing?
Yeah, and I think it's just not about being selfish. It's about finding that middle ground. Yeah.
I call it being selfish in a selfless way.
There it is. That's good.
Because I like that. We're here to serve. We're here to serve.
Dude, I want to take care of people. I want to make people laugh and get people to like, hopefully cook something.
There you go.
Build some self-esteem.
Yes.
Word.
What's
survival
your favorite?
Skills.
Oh yeah, survival skills.
Yeah.
What's your favorite tattoo that you have?
My favorite tattoo?
Yeah, is it the blue goose?
I don't know. My kids' names. I got my kids' names tattooed on me.
Good answer.
I don't know. I got my kids' names. I got my wife. I got a lot of people's names on me, but yeah.
All right, cool. Maddie, do you have a favorite Grateful Dead show? Big thanks to John for moderating.
Oh, thank you, John. John's the best.
Family ties, man. This is love. This is like real. Me and Matty, man. This is real shit. Like we jump on the horn and we really build and do real things. And Ardell, he's a really big support system for me and the gang. So this is family ties, man.
I appreciate that, babe. Yeah, I don't know. Grateful Dead is like, it's funny. I always flip flop. I always go like early 70s, and then, but I love like late 80s, like because I love fucking Brent Midland, and so I don't know. I don't really have a specific like favorite thing. Rock the Cradle is incredible in Egypt. Live in Egypt is, I think, something that's very, very special. Them playing at the pyramids is pretty fucking wild. I don't know.
Cool. All right. I'm trying to we only have a time for a couple more questions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the ones that good.
That's good. That's good engagement. That's a lot of questions, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of questions.
Oh, here's a good one. John, what is the best way to get active and help out in your local community? From Anonymous.
I think they answered the question in the question. You just got to get active and see who the players are. Like, my thing is like, whatever idea you have that's going to be about helping the community is probably someone that's been thinking about that for 2 decades. So find that person and figure out how you can support the work or get the knowledge that they've obtained from doing the work and then apply it to what you want to do. But, most of these ideas aren't new under the sun. It's like people that have been really focusing and making this their life work, whether it's like getting people fed, getting policy change. So for me, at least, I know it's not my life's work. I know it's something I care deeply about, and I try to leverage any influence or resources I have to support that work. But it's not what I wake up. It's not the first thing I think about. The first thing I think about is making dope shit, and it's like and I think as me and Matty was talking about this before we jumped on, like the way of doing business should just be that you always have some type of mechanism built in where it's about taking care of people socially or like giving back in a way where it's not about the press release, right? It's just how business has to move forward in the future, because it's like we're in this shit together, and if we have privilege, it's a privilege to be able to share it. So I think that was a long way of saying a bunch of nothing, but yeah.
Oh, man.
You want to protect the streets, get in the streets, man.
There you go.
You gotta touch the people.
Yeah. Wise words. All right, just a couple more. Do you have any tips for preventing food waste when shopping or storing leftovers? That's from Mega Tom.
I just think kind of planning. I think meal planning is actually pretty important for something like that, and planning out your week. If you can buy, once again, vegetables that can go into multiple dishes throughout the week, and taking larger pieces of meat and cooking them and using them continuously throughout the week, you'll have less waste. And I think just going to farmers markets and being able to buy smaller amounts of vegetables. Most of the food waste is when you buy a bunch. Nobody needs a full head of celery. You need like 3 celery stalks for a week. Like, nobody's cooking celery that much. Nobody's buying. You buy a big bag of carrots. And most of the time, the vegetables have so much chemicals in them that actually make them go off sooner than natural organic vegetables. So buying less, obviously, and buying and planning. I think planning and, plan your picnic, will make a big difference. And don't go shopping when you're fucking hungry. Whenever you go into a grocery store, when you're doing it hungry, when you're just like you're buying all of a sudden you're buying double stuffed Oreos instead of buying peaches. Just go buy a peach. You know, you're buying cookies and you're buying like you're hungry. You're buying the pre-roasted chicken from the hot shelf instead of the raw chicken from an organic farmer or some shit. You know, you want that quick. Don't be patient. Plan and buy less. And make more of what you have.
Yeah, shopping hunger is bad news, man.
Dude, yeah.
All right, one last one. One final one. What was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was this armband right here. It's all right here. After I got kicked out of my first high school, I got put into this like Catholic high school, and they had a uniform. And I was 17, and I got a tattoo on my forearm because it showed, like, because my uniform was a short sleeve Oxford, and so I got one on my forearm, thinking that I'd like, you know, raise some ruckus at this fucking new high school I was at, and nobody even said shit, so it didn't even end up doing nothing.
Damn. Well, it was the gateway to the rest of it, right?
Yeah. Now whatever. Covered. I look like a Chipotle bag.
He's like, I gotta go full blast, man, to get a rise out of these cowards.
Dude,
out of these jabronis.
That's what's up. I'm a fucking bunch of fucking losers, lose bags.
This has been real, fellas.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real. This is great.
Make sure y'all click that link and buy that home style cookery, or else you're gonna have to deal with the Bronx crookery. And I'm coming through like Candyman if I don't see that book on your shelf. You did?
Oh, yeah.
Candyman.
You guys are nuts. This has been great. Thank you both for making the time and having this conversation. I know everyone who's watching really appreciates it. So huge thanks.
We definitely need a plaque in the store. Like, fuck New York Times bestsellers, but this got to be the first shirtless moderation in Strand history.
It's definitely the first shirtless event in Strand history.
We got.
I can guarantee that.
We need a plaque. We need a plaque on Broadway for that. You did?
Well, I'll talk to our graphic design department. We'll see what I can do. All right, folks at home, thank you for coming. Like the man said, buy a copy in that green button right there. But for now, we bid you adieu. Have a wonderful night, and happy cooking.
Green for the money, gold for the honey, baby.
Yeah, there we go. Go follow Ghetto Gastro. Go to Ghetto Gastro right now, everybody.
Big love, everybody. Thanks for having me, Matty. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, John.
Take it easy,
World
guys.
peace.
Peace.
Good night.